I should have known something was wrong when they handed me the life insurance paperwork before the job application. Not after, before. My recruiter, a woman named Patricia, with dead eyes and a corporate smile, slid the documents across the table at a highway rest stop. "Standard procedure," she said, "for isolated facility positions." I was desperate. My 12-year-old sister, Emma, had been in remission for 3 months, but the medical debt was crushing me. Our parents died 2 years ago, and their life insurance barely covered the funeral costs. I was Emma's guardian, her only family, and I was drowning, so I signed everything. The NDA, the liability waiver, the life insurance policy naming Emma as beneficiary. The job was overnight security at Riverside Research Station, a veterinary facility owned by Whitmore University. 200 acres of farmland surrounded by forest, and on the fourth side, Riverside Correctional Facility, a maximum security prison operational since 1974. My supervisor, Dr. Sarah Chen, was waiting in the parking lot on my first evening, smoking and staring at the tree line. She looked early 50s, with exhaustion that lived in her bones. "You're early, that's good." She crushed her cigarette and turned to face me. "How's your sister doing? Emma, right?" My blood went cold. I hadn't mentioned Emma during hiring. "How do you know about her?" "We know everything about our security personnel, James. We have to." She handed me a red binder. "Inside are your protocols, not suggestions, not guidelines. Absolute rules developed over 16 years that cost 7 lives to establish. Do you understand?" 7 lives. The number hung between us. "I understand," I said, though I didn't. Not yet. Dr. Chen walked me to the security office, a small room with monitors covering one wall. 12 camera feeds showing the property. "Open the binder. Read the protocols out loud." My voice sounded small as I read. Protocol 1. Your radio has 3 channels. Channel 1 for routine communication. Channel 2 for emergencies. Channel 3 does not exist. If your radio switches to Channel 3 by itself, power it off immediately and call the emergency number. Do not listen to anything said on Channel 3. I looked up. She nodded to continue. Protocol 2. The facility houses 8 goats, 4 sheep, and 2 llamas, named Russell and Kafka. Perform a complete head count every hour. If an animal is missing, lock yourself in the office and call emergency. Protocol 3. The research greenhouse at the north end has reinforced locks and blackout coverings. You don't have keys. Do not attempt to look through gaps in the coverings. Do not approach if you hear sounds from inside. Protocol 4. The grain silo was decommissioned in 2008. It is empty. If you observe lights inside, continue your normal route. Do not approach. Lights in the silo mean they are testing the perimeter. Who's testing? I asked. Keep reading. Protocol 5. All livestock secured by 8:30 p.m. If you hear animal sounds outside after 9 p.m., ignore them completely. What you hear is not an animal. My mouth went dry. Protocol 6. The unpaved access road along the western tree line is off limits between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. Stay on illuminated pathways. If you see anyone on that road after dark, do not make eye contact. Return to the office immediately. Protocol 7. The restroom attached to the barn's southern wall is not safe after sunset. If you hear someone calling for help from inside, do not respond. Do not open the door. What is inside is not a person. Protocol 8. Russell the llama gets apple slices as treats. During 9 p.m. rounds, offer Russell 1 slice. If he accepts, conditions are normal. If he refuses or shows distress, return to the office immediately and don't leave until sunrise. My hands trembled. What happens if Russell refuses? Dr. Chen ground out her cigarette. It means they've come closer than usual. The animals sense them. The animals are never wrong. Protocol 9. Security personnel wear blue badges. If you encounter someone in uniform wearing a red badge, do not speak to them. Do not acknowledge them. Return to the office using the most direct illuminated route. Red badges were discontinued in 1987. Protocol 10. Your replacement arrives at 6 a.m. If anyone claiming to be your replacement arrives before 5:45, do not open any doors. Verify through the window. All-day shift personnel carry white LED flashlights. I finished and looked up. What is this place really? Dr. Chen stared out the window, and I saw fear in her eyes, deep and permanent. In 1986, Riverside Correctional ran a classified program, Psychological Operations. They were trying to weaponize fear. They succeeded, then lost control of what they created. She lit another cigarette with shaking hands. The program was terminated in 1987. All subjects supposedly euthanized. But something remained. Something that exists between perception and reality. This facility was established as a monitoring station. The animals sense them when humans can't. The protocols are the only thing standing between what's contained here and the outside world. 7 security personnel died learning what works. She handed me a radio and flashlight. The pay doubles after your first week. Your sister's medical expenses will be covered by company health plan if you last 90 days. She walked to the door, then stopped. If your radio activates on channel 3, you'll hear voices. You might hear Emma. You might hear your parents. None of it is real. Whatever is said on channel 3 is designed to make you break protocol. Don't listen. She left me alone as darkness fell. My shift began at 10 p.m. At 10:30, I started my first patrol. The night was cold and still, my flashlight beam pathetically small against the darkness. Inside the barn, I counted carefully. 8 goats, 4 sheep, Russell and Kafka in the last stall. Russell watched me with intelligent eyes as I offered an apple slice. He took it gently. Relief washed over me. Normal conditions. I completed my route, checking locks and gates. Everything quiet. Too quiet. At 11:43, my radio crackled to life. I hadn't touched it. A male voice came through. Security office. This is Unit 7. Situation at the North Greenhouse. Requesting immediate backup. My heart raced. I was the only security on site. This is James. Can you describe the situation? Static. Then, possible break-in at Greenhouse. Subject may still be on site. We need you here now. The monitor showed the greenhouse. Nothing moved. Unit 7, what color is your badge? Long pause. When the voice returned, it had changed. Something underneath was wrong. Why would you ask that, James? We're wasting time. Get here now. I set the radio down. Protocol 9. Do not acknowledge them. At midnight, I did another patrol. As I approached the barn, I heard scratching from the southern wall, from the restricted restroom. Then a voice, female, desperate. Hello? Please, I need help. The door's jammed and I can't get it open. Every instinct screamed at me to help. My hand moved toward the handle before I caught myself. Protocol 7. Not safe. Not a person. Please, I'm a graduate student. I was working late and got locked in. I can't breathe. Just open the door. I backed away, keeping my flashlight on the door. The scratching intensified. The voice began changing, stretching into something that wasn't language anymore. Something that hurt to hear. I ran back to the office. At 12:45, the silo camera went dark. Just static. I checked the other feeds, all functioning, just that one dead. I rewound the footage. At 12:44, the silo was dark and empty. At 12:45, static. No transition. My 1 a.m. patrol would take me within view of the silo. When it came into sight, I stopped. Every window glowed with soft red light. A gentle pulsing, like a heartbeat made visible. A shadow moved across an upper window, human-shaped, tall. It raised one arm and pointed directly at me. My radio crackled. That wrong voice, layered with others. "We see you, James. We've always seen you. We know about Emma. We know what you're afraid of." I switched it off and walked quickly back, fighting the urge to run. At 1:30, during head count, Russell and Kafka were pressed against the back wall, making distressed sounds, their eyes fixed on something behind me. I turned slowly. A figure stood in the doorway, security uniform. Even from 20 feet away, I could see the badge. Red. Protocol 9. The figure spoke, voice coming from everywhere. "The animals are frightened, James. You should comfort them. Stay here where it's warm and safe." I backed toward the rear exit. Its head began turning toward me. Not naturally. Too smooth, too far. I caught a glimpse of its face, and my mind rejected what I saw. I sprinted for the main building. At 2:45, the lights flickered and died. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in red. My radio turned itself on. The indicator flickered between channels before settling on 3. The channel that doesn't exist. Static poured out, and underneath, dozens of voices. Then Emma's voice cut through, clear and terrified. "James, where are you? I'm at the hospital and something's wrong. They're saying I need emergency surgery. They're saying I'm not going to make it, and you're not here. Why aren't you here? I'm so scared. Please, I need you." My hand shook reaching for the radio. That wasn't Emma. Couldn't be Emma. We'd talked before my shift, but the voice sounded exactly like her. "James, please. They're taking me to surgery, and I don't want to go alone." I grabbed my phone. No signal. The voice continued, now crying. "Why did you take this job? Why did you leave me? You promised you'd always be there, and now I'm dying." I threw the radio across the room and covered my ears. Dr. Chen had warned me. Not real. Designed to make me break protocol. But Emma's voice kept coming, mixed with hospital machines beeping, doctors calling codes, my sister screaming my name. I lasted 6 minutes before picking up the radio and turning it off, my hands shaking so badly I could barely manage it. At 3:45, the power returned. Normal lights replaced emergency lighting. Cameras showed normal feeds, except the silo, still static. At 4:15, someone knocked on my door. 3 soft, polite knocks. Dr. Chen's voice came through. "James, it's Sarah Chen. We have an emergency. I need you to open the door." I checked my phone. 4:15, Protocol 10, replacement at 6 a.m. Don't open before 5:45. "James, please, there's been an incident at the prison. We're evacuating. You need to come with me now." The voice sounded genuine, concerned. The handle turned slowly, testing the lock. "I can hear you breathing. I know you're scared, but trust me and open this door." I watched through the window. In the dim lighting, a figure. Dr. Chen's height, her build, even her jacket. The figure turned toward the window. For a split second, before it adjusted, I saw something wrong with its face. The proportions weren't right. The smile too wide. Eyes too far apart. Then it was Dr. Chen again, looking worried and professional. "Last chance, James. Open the door, or I'm leaving without you." I stayed silent, barely breathing. After a long moment, the figure walked calmly toward the tree line. At the edge of the light, it stopped and looked back, smiled that too wide smile, then disappeared into darkness. The hours until 6 a.m. were endless. I didn't leave that office, just watched monitors as false dawn grayed the sky. At 5:53, headlights appeared. Dr. Chen's actual car. I recognized the plate. She got out, checked her watch, stretched her back, walked to the building with her tired stride, lit a cigarette halfway. When she knocked, I checked the time on 3 devices. 5:54. I opened the door. She took one look at my face and nodded. You saw them, heard them. I couldn't speak, just nodded. She poured coffee. The first week is hardest. They test new personnel aggressively. See if you'll break protocol. Most people quit after the first night. But you didn't. You followed the rules. That's very good. What are they? I finally asked. She stared into her coffee. We don't know exactly. The research called them resonances, echoes of fear made manifest. They exist in multiple states simultaneously, physical and non-physical, real and perceived. They feed on fear and use it to become more real. She met my eyes. The protocols work because they remove fear. They tell you exactly what to do. As long as you follow them, the resonances can't fully materialize, can't touch you. The moment you break protocol, give in to fear, that's when they become dangerous. I thought about the voice. They used my sister's voice. They knew about Emma. Dr. Chen nodded. They know everything you fear, everything you love. They'll use it all. She pulled out another laminated sheet. Protocol 11. Added as of tonight. I read the red text. Protocol 11. If you hear your own voice calling for help, do not respond. Do not investigate. What you hear is not you. The real you is reading this protocol right now. I looked at her. Has anyone heard their own voice? She crushed her cigarette. Twice. Neither followed protocol. Neither made it to sunrise. She stood and moved to the door. Get rest. Your next shift starts at 10 p.m. The pay increase takes effect immediately, and Emma's medical expenses transfer to our plan by this afternoon. I wanted to ask more, but she was already at her car. I gathered my things as the sun broke over the horizon. As I pulled out of the parking lot, I glanced in my rearview mirror. Someone stood in the office window, watching me leave. The figure raised one hand and waved. I didn't wave back. I drove home and sat in my car for 20 minutes trying to process everything. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma. Morning. Aunt Carol is making pancakes. Love you. I stared at that message. Real. She was real and safe and alive. I went inside, took a shower that didn't make me feel cleaner, and lay in bed staring at the ceiling. 9 hours before my next shift. 9 hours to decide if I was really going back. But I already knew the answer. The medical debt was gone. Emma would be covered. And somewhere in the darkness behind those protocols, there was a truth I was terrified to discover. A truth about what happens when you stare at fear long enough that it learns to stare back.